Welcome to another BoshNRoll video. Today I am playing Jeskai Control in Modern at the request of the King Centaur via Patreon. So King Centaur has the fairest Modern deck I've seen in a very long time right here in front of me, and I'm pretty excited to try it. Modern is rife with Urza Sagas right now, and Ragavans, and Murktide Regents, and all this crazy stuff, plus the Izzet Blitz deck that didn't go anywhere when Modern Horizons 2 was printed. It just splintered off into also Izzet Delver. So there's all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Amulet Titan still in the format, actually got better with Urza Saga, so it is a bold time to be a fair deck. That said, Counterspell was printed in Modern Horizons 2, actual factual Counterspell, and I will never walk away from a chance to try this card. Haven't gotten to play it yet in Modern, played against it a few times, but haven't put it in a deck myself. And of course, one of my signature cards on this channel, Shark Typhoon, is here. Like, let's go. So this deck, it just has a bunch of answers to stuff. We got spot removal, counterspells, some land destruction. If you don't need to destroy your opponent's lands, the deck plays 4 Flagstones of Trocaire, which is a combo, where this is basically a cantripping rampant growth. You destroy your own Flagstones of Trocaire with Cleansing Wildfire, you search for a Plains with Flagstones, you search for a basic with Wildfire, and you draw a card from Wildfire. So that's a pretty cool interaction. It's a way to let the main deck have some sideboard hate just in it without being a dead draw in the matchups you don't want it. Love this interaction. It's not new, it's been around since Zendikar Rising, but really big fan every time I see it. I tried this in Pioneer, actually, and it was actually reasonable. So here we are in a higher powered format with the same thing. Lightning Helix, Snapcaster Mage to do all those things over again. Force of Negation, that puts the walls up around what you could lose to. Like, this removes a lot of the cheese factor that tends to be a problem for these bigger blue-white decks. And then we just got a fistful of Planeswalkers to actually win the game with. Just Little Teferi buys time. Jace draws cards until it's ready to win the game. Teferi draws cards while winning the game. So as long as we can get to a space where these Planeswalkers are coming into play, we're in a good spot. Getting to that spot is going to be the hard part, because Modern is full of insane threats, and being the deck that wants to try to answer that wide range of insane threats is not a position I would take on purpose, but I'm very excited to try it out. Because if this sort of deck is playable, it's the kind of deck I want to be playing, though we'll see how this goes. Out of the sideboard, we have some normal stuff you'd expect, like Dovin's Veto, Supreme Verdict, Aether Gust, and Sanctifier Invec. Just powerful sideboard cards, just color hosers, etc. But the really cool thing going on over here is Madcap Experiment with Platinum Empyrean. If you haven't seen this before, Madcap Experiment, 4-mana sorcery. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. Madcap Experiment deals damage to you equal to the number of cards revealed in this way. So the only artifact in the deck is Platinum Empyrean, which says your life total can't change. So Madcap Experiment flips however many cards you need out of your deck until you hit a Platinum Empyrean. That comes into play. And then the last part of Madcap Experiment is deals damage to you. But at that point, Platinum Empyrean's already in play, so you don't take the damage. This is a 4-mana sorcery that says put Platinum Empyrean into play from your deck. And there's a lot of decks that really struggle with this. There's decks that just can't beat this. Like against Burn and Prowess, etc., this is probably going to be the plan. Against certain combo decks, this might be the plan. So Platinum Empyrean, Madcap Experiment for it, is in the deck. I was tempted to add a Fracturing Gust to the sideboard because the Azmoran food deck is everywhere. Urza Saga is everywhere. Enchantress is a deck in the format. And Fracturing Gust is just a giant banger against all of those decks. And we are a white deck, so we can play it. It's going to cost triple white to cast, which we actually can't do if a Blood Moon's in play, which is a consideration not to play it against Enchantress. But I have decided to give the King Centaur's main deck the chance to carry the day without that banger. Like, I haven't played with Counterspell before in Modern. Teferi is a generic answer to permanence. Cryptic Command's a generic answer to permanence. Teferi's also an answer to permanence. So I'm going to use the control tools that I have rather than rely on this gigantic 5-mana sideboard card that's fringe for matchups. So I'm going to keep everything exactly as it was submitted to me, and I'm going to try this deck. So it's time to find out if being a fair reactive control wizard is still something you can do in Modern. In we go. I'm on the draw in the first round. I have Counterspell and the Wildfire combo. Like, this is a turn 3 Jace, which is probably not good enough for Modern, honestly. but I am going to keep this hand. So we're playing against a Dragon's Rage Channeler deck. And we drew a second Cleansing Wildfire. Wasn't super excited about the first one, given the matchup. On the play, I think we're pretty clean here, but on the draw, we're going to have to take some mashing from the Channeler. Like, just like Serum Visions here might give them Delirium instantly. Right, there's Creature, Sorcery, Land. Right, another land. Gotta hope they don't find Mishra's Bauble here. Alright, looks like I'm just taking one this time. But there's 6 mana, or 6 damage on the board for next turn. Seemed pretty likely. They topped their Serum Visions. So in the main deck, I don't have a whole lot going on for this. I can search for the Rockrin Triome off of the flagstones, so I'm going to leave that in the deck for now and hope I don't draw it right now. Alright, dodged. So Wildfire this thing. I get to put Rockrin Triome and another Plains into play. And another land. It doesn't have to be a Plains. So I probably want blue. And then Flagstones resolves. I get Triome. Drawing the third Wildfire. Not what I needed. I needed like Path to Exile Lightning Bolt here. Though, oh, I didn't get another white source. That was probably a mistake. So I can't Teferi and cantrip into Path to Exile next turn. Like, I could still cast Teferi, bounce one of these things to buy some time, but the window to... or I can't leave Rockrin Triome up to do it unless I draw another white source. So maybe I'm supposed to get Plains off of this. Serum Visions. Here we go. Shredding through the deck. Another creature in the bin. Yeah, Subtlety is really scary because it returns... oh, up to one creature or Planeswalker. Okay, this does not return Supreme Verdict to my hand. So we're still good there. Supreme Verdict is going to be a big part of this sideboard plan. Oh, still just attacking for ones. I'll take that. I'll take it every time. Then I don't think leaving up Counterspell is what I want to do here. I think I want to put Teferi into play and hope for the best. And I'm going to play my land first. If they have Counterspell, we're in some trouble. And Subtlety bounces this. But that's a 2-for-1 if they do that. And that doesn't trigger Channeler. Yeah, Counterspell's insane. Yep, real good card. And now the Channelers are alive. Well, the Counterspell wasn't instant anyway, but now they're milling Spell Pierces to keep it that way. I guess I could have like led on Jace, bounced one of these things, and then played Teferi with Counterspell back up next turn. But Teferi is just so good to have in play now. Yeah. I don't think you get to play around a whole lot when this is the board state. Alright, I mean, Shark Typhoon is not the worst card I've ever seen. I can cycle it for 1 and try to hit one of the removal spells. I think I should pass the turn. Like, I could just do it for 3, go to 4 life. Or I could do it for 1, try to hit a removal spell and have Counterspell back up. And Subtlety blows me out here. So I am going to cycle for 1. Let's try to get a block in there. So cycling for 1 lets Lava Dart kill this thing. Yeah, I'm just a turn behind. I mean, I'm probably more than 1 turn behind, but I'm definitely at least 1 turn behind. Alright, block. Go to 4. I hope they cast a spell. Like, I have this counter spell up. Please let me cast it. Murktide Regent's coming. They probably should just pass the turn. Shit, they figured it out. Fine. Alright, Teferi, let's go. So I need Teferi to bounce one of these creatures and cantrip into a removal spell for another one, and they can't have a counterspell. And they're holding Murktide Regent. Subtlety. That bounces my Teferi. Is there anything I can do about that? I don't think so. Like, I could counterspell Subtlety, but then I'm tapped out, and even if I bounce one of these things, I'm still down on board. Yeah, I'll just scoop. You got me good. Cleansing Wildfire, not what I wanted in this matchup in any number. Jace also terrible. Just completely drew the wrong half of the deck there, which is one of the things that comes up with these sorts of decks pretty often. Alright, so Supreme Verdict is in... Is this a Madcap Experiment matchup? And I don't think that it is, because they have Subtlety. Wait, but that bounces... Time to read Subtlety. I'm pretty sure it bounces creature or planeswalker spells, but not actually creatures or planeswalkers in play. Yeah, choose up to one target creature or planeswalker spell. Its owner puts it on the top of the bottom of their library. Okay. Alright, so Madcap Experiment might be great here. They do have Counterspell and Spell Pierce, though, which is a bit of a concern. How deep do I want to go on this plan? Is this plan actually GG if it happens? Those are the questions I'm asking myself right now. So, cards that are not so good. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Cleansing Wildfire. I'm just gonna cut all of those. And gotta cut 4 more cards if this is the plan. Enforce a Negation doesn't really do what I need it to in the matchup. Like, it doesn't protect my spells, and the things I'm scared of out of them are mostly creatures. Cryptic Command can do like the Tappy dance, and I think the Snapcaster removal suite is what I'm really trying to do here. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do for this matchup. Bang. Here's my Madcap Experiment. So the dream would be to Madcap Experiment off of Teferi in combat and eat a creature right away. But let's have a plan to actually play the game first. So this is a one-lander, which is a shame because otherwise it's great. But one-landers do have a habit of looking pretty good. This one is completely missing 1-mana spells. I am going to keep this and send the Flagstones to the bottom. Is Flagstones better than Plains, or does it even matter? Alright, I'm going to keep the Flagstones. So I'm looking for some kind of 1-mana interaction here. And I'm hoping that between Shark Typhoon and Snapcaster Mage I can get it before I'm dead. Right, Bauble right away. So that's creature, artifact in the graveyard. And I am going to fetch. They're going to get to see what I'm doing, but it's fine. Rocker and Triumph, into play tapped. Force of Negation. Not great, but not the worst either. Alright. Pass a turn. It's weird they didn't pop their Bauble. Now they see a card that I'm going to shuffle away anyway. So they get in for another 1 point. I'm not going to flash in Snapcaster to block. That just plays into every red card that exists. And I'm going to fetch a Steam Vents here. Because I have double white already. Now I have double blue and double red. Alright, we're getting closer, team. So I will cycle Shark Typhoon to block this Dragon Rage Channeler as a 1/1. I don't care if they use a Lightning Bolt on that because it's already a 2-for-1. Thought Scour, okay. So that should get them Delirious. It'd be hard to imagine this not getting the job done. Okay, it didn't get the job done. And they milled 2 counter spells. Get rid of them. My plan involves resolving a spell. They can sack their Fiery Islet to get Delirium. They have instant creature. Okay, there's a sorcery. Never mind. They don't need it. They managed to get Delirium, which their deck is very good at doing. And here's an attack for 3. I will block it with my 1/1. Really hope to find a land off of this cycle or the draw step to jam my experiment. Draw for cycling. Alright, Lightning Helix is not bad. I'm going to absorb the 3 damage. There are worse cards than Lightning Helix. Also worse cards than Path to Exile. Alright, cool. So we're going to go to their turn and have a flurry of spells. We're going to force a fight on their turn and then pivot onto Madcapping. I think I want to lead on Path because I would rather have Lightning Helix resolve. And if we are going to have a fight, alright, they're just letting me path them. If they have Murktide Regen, I might regret that, but I have the Snap Path. But they can Subtlety Snapcaster, which is pretty good. Another one of these. In the end step, we'll fight over it. Yeah, this is the part of the deck that you need to draw against a deck like this. Alright, they're just letting all their shit die. Come on now. Alright, pass the turn. This deck plays 23 lands, which is a fair amount. I think I actually do want to Force of Negation this. It's a good way to use my mana this turn that I might not be using otherwise. And they don't have a lot of non-creature spells I think I really need to fight over. Alright, cool. So that's It's a 1-for-1 on its face, Force of Negationing and Expressive Iteration, but the iteration will get 2 cards. So it's actually better than that. Alright, someday. And having 2 experiments mean I can jam one onto the stack and then cast the other one the next turn if it gets countered. I expect them to crack their Islet right now. I can't imagine they need 6 lands more than they need another card. Yep, there it is. Delver resolves. Serum Visions, you got it. I'm going to test in their end step with Snap Path, and then hopefully someday this land will show up. Another Serum Vision, so they vision, top, vision again. Another land. So time for Snapcaster, Path to Exile. My opponent's deck could easily contain Blood Moon also, it's just something I should consider, but I guess Dovin's Veto is my consideration for that right now. Also Madcap Experiment you could just cast under Blood Moon, which I'm sure is part of the plan. Path this thing. I'd be surprised if they fight over this. Oh wow. Alright, cool. Alright, you got it. Your Delver survives. Now is the time, deck. Jam this land. Alright, Flusterstorm worked. You got it. Right, so I'm gonna attack for 2. See what they want to do about that, and then I'll jam the experiment. Second main. I can start testing their hand. They took 2, and then it's time to cap. Cap it. A counterspell, no surprise there at all. Now it's their turn, and Delver should flip, right? They recently Serum Visioned, revealing Mystical Dispute. That one's a pain. Here comes Murktide Region, it looks like. So, Supreme Verdict, best draw. 2 cards left, and we know one of them's Mystical Dispute. That's a beating. So I guess I'm going to have to try to bait this Mystical Dispute with the Cryptic, and then pivot onto Empyrean. Alright, so we go to their turn. They draw a card. Well, we're not in their turn yet. So they draw a card. I'm going to let them draw for turn before I go for the Cryptic. And if they play something other than Mystical Dispute, that's fine. Like, I want to know about it before it gets me. Taking 11 here, go to 6, and then I need this cap to happen, and I need to not draw my second Empyrean. So we're in combat, and tap your squad and draw is what I want to do. No, I want to bounce Murktide Regent and tap all their creatures. No, I can take damage from the Delver. This isn't resolving anyway, so... Alright, I'm gonna bounce Regent and draw a card. Like, if I just tap their squad, they can let it resolve and just win anyway. So... But there is real cost to bouncing Murktide Regent because you have to replay it. Just gotta hope that these last 3 cards in hand aren't more Mystical Disputes. There's a Delver in Exile that's now or never for them to cast. Bobble. Okay. 2 cards left. Well, this is it. Now or never. Win or lose. Alright. Furion's in play. I'll take it. Unholy Heat. So that it takes 6. Oh god, they could just kill my 8 thing with Unholy Heats. Alright, that'll do. GG. Yeah, that deck is really good. This deck got Counterspell from Modern Horizons 2. This deck exists because of Modern Horizon 2. Just the Murktide Regents and the Dragon Rage Channeler just didn't find low-end enough answers. I think a big part of the problem there was that I was missing land drops as well. Like, I'm holding Counterspell and Veto, and if I have 6 mana here, and I let Unholy Heat resolve and then Veto the Lightning Bolt, I'm never losing this game. So there's definitely, like, control decks need to hit their land drops, and the fact that the Tempo Aggro Delver deck had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lands this game to my 4 is a big reason why we lost. So next round's coming. I'm on the play against a Yorion deck, and I think that most of the Yorion decks are like Solitude, Ephemerate kind of shit these days. My hand isn't really good at doing anything, so I'm gonna mulligan it. This one's better at doing stuff. At least I can cast Cleansing Wildfire to cantrip with this hand, which I could not do with the previous one. So I'm going to keep this and probably send Teferi to the bottom. That's just the card that I'm the farthest away from doing anything with. Jam my Prairie Stream tapped, because I'm a long way from that coming in untapped. It's now their first turn, and I have to resist the temptation to F6, because normally in Modern, I don't have a lot of free spells, but between Modern Horizons 1 and now also Modern Horizons 2, there's so many in this format. Alright, I'm going to play the Flooded Strand. Access to red's going to be important eventually. I'll probably fetch Triome here just to get my colors super set up. I think it's some sort of Plains deck. Arid Mesa for basic Plains. Who does that? Is this some sort of like Sun and Moon Chalice deck? Chalice, Blood Moon stuff? Oh no, we already know it's a Yorion deck. What am I even saying? Shut up. Okay, get the Triome. Let's get super set up here. Hey, my combo. Alright. Good thing we got red. It's combo time. Red, white, wildfire this. Yes to this. And I would like... I have a lot of blue. I have red. There's no double red cards. I have a ton of white also. Yeah, I guess I'm getting an island. And then this will get... I have a ton of blue and white. There really aren't any double red cards though. Yeah, I'm just going to get Hallowed Fountain. Okay, good ramps. Control decks ramping on the play is a good thing. For me. Bad for my opponent, I hope. Stoneforge Mystic, okay. So Cauldra is probably about to complete itself. Though any of the swords are pretty reasonable here too. They do in fact have Sword of Fire and Ice. You got it. So they either already have Cauldra in hand, or that's just not what they want here. If I jam the Jace, I think I'm just jamming Jace and just hoping they don't have Cauldra. But I'm going to jam Jace first and then Brainstorm, and if I hit Path to Exile or Lightning Bolt, it doesn't matter if they have Cauldra. Let's go, 1-mana interaction. Oh, I guess they could just Lightning Bolt Jace. I didn't find 1-mana interaction anyway, so I'm going to put back... I'm going to play Sacred Foundry this turn, so I'm going to put back... It's actually tough, I kind of want the Wildfire thing to happen. But I guess it will eventually. I don't have a shuffle effect. Yeah, so I'll put back Wildfire and Flagstones in that order. Play my Sacred Foundry. I will shock it in to bluff something. Like, let them respect Path or Bolt. I guess they don't have to respect Bolt if I let Stoneforge Mystic live, but they do have to respect Path to Exile if they just jam their Cauldra. But I think it's a forced play. They can't just let me have Jace. Maybe that was just a bad bluff. Just took 2 damage for no reason. But the fact I took 2 damage sells the bluff. Like, it wasn't free. I'm not just holding up a Plains. I chose to take 2 damage here. I hope they consider that in their calculations. But like I said, bluffing into a forced play just might not make sense anyway. It looks like they just have nothing. Not even a land drop. Okay. They did have the Bolt from my Jace, but I'm going to force that. I don't think I need this counterspell when I have Cryptic ready. If they had just done that on my turn, I would have lost Jace. I was busy planning around the Death and Taxes happen, forgot about Lightning Bolt, so I'm going to plus Jace out of Bolt range this turn. Which might not be really necessary to do. Because if they had a Bolt, they would have played it. So the Cleansing Wildfire is on top of my deck, which I don't actually want. But it does cantrip, at least. So I'm going to plus target them. They're kind of mana hungry right now. So yeah, I'll bottom that land and play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So I think I need to hold up Cryptic for a turn. Though if Teferi just tucks Stoneforge Mystic, then they won't have anything to carry the sword, even if they get it into play. Alright, I'm going to do that. They couldn't answer Jace last turn, so let's tuck Stoneforge Mystic. That's out of here. This is definitely betting that I can win the long game, because in the short term, they're going to redraw this thing and it's going to get another card. Like, it's a lot of... Or, like, in the long term, this is a lot of card advantage to give them, but in the short term, it takes Sword of Fire and Ice out of play. And my bet, oh shit. All right, they had Batterskull too. Fine. So I'm going to lose Teferi here. That's okay, though. I get to keep Jace out of the deal. The possibility that they had a different weapon in hand was always on the table. Like I mentioned that when they searched up the sword, that there's a good chance they just have Cauldron instead. Uh-oh, shocked in. Yep, taking out Teferi, squeaky clean. Another Stoneforge. So that shuffles away the Stoneforge that they're going to draw in 2 turns while getting Cauldron. That's alright, I have answers to that sort of stuff at the ready. So I can Brainstorm with Jace, and then use Wildfire to shuffle, and still cast Cryptic. Helixes are good. Counterspell's fine. Maybe I just save this and I actually don't even need to shuffle. So if I put back Wildfire and Helix, then I have Helix for Stoneforge. I can bounce the Germ token with Cryptic. Do I want to bounce the Germ token? Probably. And I think I do it right now too. Because if they untap, and if I go to bounce Germ token, and they bounce Batterskull in response, I don't get to draw a card. I could also let Jace go to 1, which I'm not super excited about. Okay, that makes this easy. Counter target spell and bounce the Germ. Counter Ephemerate, bounce Germ. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. I don't mind if they equip their Batterskull to Wall of Omens. Though it's funny how that would probably beat a lot of decks, but I'm not one of them. Charming Prince can flicker Wall to draw an extra card. It's pretty good. Prince can flicker Prince to get like crazy flicker shit going, or I can just scry 2. Alright, they're not trying to dance around Wrath of Gods with multiple Princes right now. The thing with that is Prince can flicker Prince and it'll come back in the end step, and then it can flicker the other Prince, which will come back in the next end step, and then at that point a sweeper will never destroy all your creatures. So Brainstorm with Jace again. Snapcaster Mage is phenomenal. So do I draw a card or shuffle first? I think I shuffle first. I don't need this many counter spells. I do like the removal spells though. Yeah, Wildfire is just really awkward and bad at this point. I'll just leave this handful of answers up and pass the turn. We're just settling into a Jace game. So I can Snapcaster. If they attack with their princes, I can Snapcaster, block one of them, Helix the other. If they have Ephemerate to try to bust it up, I have the counter spell and the backup Helix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, you cannot have my Jace. No, no, no. Let's get that out of here. Alright, now I can't counterspell to break up an Ephemerate. Just jamming fearlessly into Lightning Helix. Target Helix. Solitude. Okay. So Solitude is going to come in and exile Snapcaster Mage. Deal. I still get to nuke one of these. And Jace goes to 3. I guess if they have Lightning Bolt, I lose Jace here. And that's actually pretty bad. Alright, got to untap into the counter spell. So I'm going to draw 3 with Jace again. There we go. Put these 2 back. Then Teferi time. Do I want to bounce Charming Prince? Yeah, probably. Let's just keep the damage off the board. Keep my velocity moving forward. I could have tapped in a way to leave up double counterspell and I blew it. Yeah, this Sacred Foundry could have tapped instead of Island to cast Teferi. I just wasn't thinking about it. Time to pay more attention to that kind of stuff. Aerial Recruiter. Is that too good? Probably. Especially with the Prince coming down after it. Yeah, that sort of value, especially with Yorion, not interested. Yeah, if they just draw a card with Wall of Omens here, that's fine. Yep, you got it. It's back in play. Not in a rush to fire off the Lightning Helix. I think I can do better still. So, is it time to finally get rid of this Wildfire? And this land's pretty good. Wildfire is whatever. Wildfire, and I guess the land can go back too. Whatever. With Teferi backing up Jace, I know that everything I'm doing is pretty safe. If they just equip Batterskull and blowing them out with Helix. Zap. Can't Ephemerate in response. I have Teferi. And I can Castle Vantress in the end step. Now we're really chugging. Oh, you're an Aether Vial deck too? Jeez, I guess that makes sense given the cards we've seen. Right, bottom both of these. This Cleansing Wildfire, been dancing around it for a while now. I think I have enough answers in my hand that I can start plussing with Jace and trying to actually get this game over with. Because the clock is eventually going to be a consideration. Their hand right now is Sword of Fire and Ice and Cauldra. You can have that. I have lots of removal. I'll just remove the creatures at this point rather than the sword. They could put Yorion in hand right now. Good idea. Good play. And activate Castle. Scry 2, Valakut Awakening. Bottom, both of these. Just looking for more Snapcasters and counterspells right now. There's another counterspell. Hit them. You can have Aether Vial. Pass a turn. Just speed mode now, trying to get this game over. And catch up on the clock while I do it. I'm like 30 seconds behind them. And Castle Vantress doesn't lend itself well to a fast clock game. But I'm still gonna play correctly, because I could still lose this game. It's not over. Alright, that's what I wanted. That's how we actually win this game. Plus Jace, target you. Yes, bottoming that probably makes some sense. Alright, chip it. The vials are ticking up. It's probably time to bounce that vial on 3 with Teferi. That's a scary enough number. Shark Typhoon. Just gonna make a 5/5. If they wisp, they wisp. Now they're dying by Jace points and life points pretty quickly on both. Get a 5/5. Draw a card. Snapcaster is exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, this game's going to be hard to lose from here. This vial needs to put something really important into play right now, and it didn't do that. Okay, I'm going to plus them. Yes, put that on the bottom. Flagstones, play the second Flagstones, keep the untapped one, search for a Plains, yes please. This does shuffle all those cards I bottomed back into the deck, but I don't have to go to discard, which I enjoy not going to discard. And I actually think that Jace is going to win the game on its own, and having back a 5/5 blocker is not the worst thing. I guess there is like one line where they could vial in Skyclave Apparition. So I think I need to... actually, that checks that box for me. So counter target spell, return target permanent. So counter Lightning Bolt. Whoa, don't bounce my island. Counter Lightning Bolt. Counter Lightning Bolt, bounce the vial on 2. That'll keep it from getting to 3 before Jace pops. Okay, cool. My deck is already randomized anyway, so I'm gonna crack this fetch land. I left it in play for a long time due to the top of my deck, or the bottom of my deck being cards I didn't want. Alright, so I have Force of Negation, Counterspell, double Snapcaster to do more things, and I exile their deck next turn. I'm feeling good. I could also have them deaden 2 to the Shark, but I am playing for time. The chess clock's going to matter a lot here, and I'm behind on it. All right, exile your deck with Jace. Plus, your turn. Now I'm just F6ing. If they want to pretend we're still playing Magic, we can do that. They're also F6ing. This is where Magic Online goes into garbage time. They're still stacking Aether Vials when the clock is all that matters. Alright, I'll make them make a decision. Alright, so they vial in the Solitude here. That's fine, I gain 5. They have another one? Yorion, sure. Path to exile. Yorion can blink stuff. If it blinks Wall of Omen, they lose. I'm at 32 life. I don't know what could happen here. Bounce Yorion. Don't care. Helix you. Just trying to get my hand empty. Alright, so they get their Batterskull back. They draw a card, and then they die because they drew a card. Well played, weird game. Alright, that was weird. That was a lot of time spent on both our clocks for no reason, and I'm down by about 40 seconds right now. So what's going on in this matchup? Platinum Empyrean is not the plan at all. Supreme Verdict might be. Aether Gust doesn't seem like the worst. Joven's Veto can counter Hardcast Equipment, Blood Moon, Aether Vial, but that doesn't seem super important. Alright, so removing Blood Moon might be something I have to do. So I'm going to give some consideration to Aether Gust. Force of Negation doesn't seem extremely important. Most of their big things are creatures, including their spells in the form of Solitude. So Force of Negation can minus. Snapcast or Cleansing Wildfire was not great. You know, it was cool that I got to do the ramp thing, but I don't really need to destroy things out of their deck, so I'm going back in like this. This Cleansing Wildfire also helps dig out a Blood Moon. I can just hit one of my own lands, turn it into a basic. There's a lot of cool little insulations against Blood Moon in this deck. Keep. Windswept Heath. Go to my turn. I'm going to get the Rockran Triumph set up. With an eye to the clock the whole time. I'm going to be talking a little less and playing a little faster here. Charming Prince, you got it. I'm going to fetch in response so I can F6. So I'm holding up Counterspell now. Castle Vantress, pass the turn, holding up Counterspell or Path to Exile as needed. They do get some cheeky beats in here, but that's alright. Life total's a resource. Just passing the turn. Don't mind that. Basic land, pass. Now I can hardcast Force of Negation if they have something like Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, or some pivot onto Planeswalkers. Chandra Torch of Defiance could be in this deck, I guess. Anything could be in the deck. It's freaking Yorion. Alright, I'm gonna Force of Negation that. Get a basic land. There's not a whole lot of targets for this card in the deck, and Aether Vial is one of them. Alright, Thalia. You got me good. I'm going to pass. I'm not going to kill the Thalia right away because it will keep equipment out of play. Or at least help keep equipment out of play. I get rid of that. Ramping them's not ideal, but I am untapping into Jace. Or Snap Path. Whatever I need to do here. I got options. Giver, sure. Alright. So I'm just going to get a red land. I've decided Blood Moon is not my priority. Jace plus target me. Do not bottom that. Keep it right where it is. Alright, so they have a turn to pressure Jace. If they have Lightning Bolt, they can clear him. Alright, they're bolting Jace pre-combat. That makes sense, because now they know if they should attack it or not through Force of Negation. That's alright. It was a 1-for-1. Gain 3 life. Sort of Fire and Ice is in play now. So I can Lightning Bolt the Giver, and then Snap Bolt the Prince. Okay, can't Snap Bolt the Prince. They gave it pro red, so I can still Snap Bolt the Prince. I just have to do it next turn. And it plays into Ephemerate a little bit, but they have to commit to the sword first. Snapcaster. Bolt the Prince. It's gone, cool. And this sword in play isn't even a huge deal because I have Cryptic Command at the ready. I have Snap plus Cryptic right now, and the mana to do it all. This is where it gets awkward. Like, I have to... If I start activating Castle Vantress, I have to win this game. Which I am planning on doing anyway. Alright, counter target spell, draw a card. That looks pretty good to me. Let's get rid of that. Just trying to keep anything that could carry a sword out of play right now. Hello. Here's Teferi. Gonna start drawing. File something in here. Nothing. Okay, they're just messing with me. You got it. Deal. I think I do want to zap in. I want a Cleansing Wildfire here. I just want to move forward with my deck. I want a cantrip. I can make their mana a little worse. Like, I can turn this red-white land into a red or white land. Probably should have gone after Sunbaked Canyon, honestly. There we go. Alright, attack for 2 with Snapcaster. End of turn, untap 2 lands that can cast Counterspell. They activated their Vial, so I don't even need to respect the possibility of a surprise sword. Alright, so now I can play Teferi Time Raveler, bounce the Aether Vial before I use Teferi Hero of Dominaria, so I can bounce either the sword or a creature they put in either way here. Yeah, I'm winning this game. I think we're over the hump. Right, wishing Yorion into hand, sure. Flagstones, small Teferi, bounce Aether Vial. No more surprises. Big Teferi, draw a card. Alright, yeah, they're just scooping it up. They know what's happening here. That was a tight one in game 1. Game 2 was much more of a ranching. But GG's, on to the next round. On the draw in round number 3. And this hand is like slow but fine. I mean, slow but fine is all you could really hope for in the modern format with this deck. Alright, so they have an Inkmoth Nexus and an Ozolith. Alright, so we're playing against Hardened Scales. This is going to be a good deck to have Path to Exile and Lightning Bolt against. Very cool. Ship it. Path to Exile is nice because it busts up the Ozolith. Oh, it's whenever a creature leaves the battlefield. JK, no it doesn't. And Zabaz the Glimmerwasp. I can bolt in response here. I think I need to get Steam Vents to bolt. Yeah, so Steam Vents, Lightning Bolt, this thing. That at least denies the modular trigger. The Ozolith still picks it up. Unfortunately, Zabaz is going to get it immediately because it's time for combat. Oh, this deck's scary. I'm going to mess this up somehow. Just watch me burn. Right, hold up the Path to Exile. Just want to make sure I don't get poisoned out too quick. Phyrexia's Core. Sack an artifact, gain a life. Alright. Been a while since I've seen that one. So do I want to Path to Exile this? I don't think so. Or at least... Actually, yeah. No. Because I don't have the Snapcaster up yet. And I don't want to just lose to some bullshit. Ballista. Alright, that's pretty good. Someday I'll point Path to Exile at that. Okay, so I can play this as a second red, or this as a second white. I think Prairie Stream's going to be better. Because then I can Path to Exile with Counterspell protection in the future. Removing a creature from play and then bouncing the Ozolith with Teferi is a line. Like that gets the counters out of play forever, which is pretty hard to do. Hangerback Walker. Alright, I think I want to Path the Zabaz. And the counters can move on to the Ozolith. And then I'll bounce the Ozolith with Teferi. Remove those counters from play. At least for now. Alright, kind of scary, but let's go. Alright, that gives me a chance to draw 1 mana interaction. That Scalding Tarn's actually great. Guess I could have waited a turn to bounce the Ozolith. And spend a turn snap pathing. Alright. They're gonna have to dedicate some resources to Teferi here. Maybe. I don't know, maybe they don't. I don't know how this deck works. Ancient Stirrings. Remember the time Alex Bertoncini got banned from Magic 3 times and then came back again and cast Ancient Stirrings for Hardened Scales and then got banned for life? That's a real thing that happened. For you Magic historians out there, enjoy that one. Ancient Stirrings for Hardened Scales was the thing that got him gone for good. Right, Ozolith is back. Worker, Zabaz is in hand. Okay, powerful stuff. Guess I just got the Triome. Force of Negation. Alright, I think I did mess up that Teferi sequence. Like, I should have spent a turn Path to Exiling and before I cleared the Ozolith. So now what do I even do? I can Snap Path. I'm going to play this as a land, for sure. Then I can Snap Path to Exile something at some point. All of this is a great mystery to me. It depends on what they do. They don't have red mana to destroy an artifact. They don't have white mana to gain flying. So this is basically just an Arcbound Worker with a little bit of extra text on it. Arcbound Ravager. That's a good card. If I counter this, what happens? They attack for a bunch. I think this card is worth countering. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think this is where counterspells are meant to be. Yeah, Ravager is a thing that just sends all of this into insanity mode. Like it doubles with Ozolith. I'll just take my beats here. If I draw a land, I can Teferi and still hold up Snap Path. So 2, 3, 4. Is there a game to be played here if I just tap out for Teferi and miss? Like if I draw an untapped land, I want Teferi in play. I guess I could use Snapcaster Mage to survive this turn cycle and then pivot around and oh, they didn't charge their walker. I like that. Yeah, Teferi can tuck the Ozolith, which also gets rid of counters for a while. Okay, so cast Teferi. Target Path to Exile. So, was there a way to tap this so I can still counterspell? Oh, I don't have counterspell. It doesn't matter. All right, counterspell's not in my hand anymore. Doesn't matter. All right, so go to blocks. I want to block Walking Ballista because that's the one that can combo kill me out of nowhere. And I'm not going to cast this path until they commit to something else, somewhere else. Like if they sack Arcbound Worker to Phyrexia's Core to put 2 counters onto Walking Ballista, I can path the Ballista in response. And if they like King Snapcaster Mage, then it already did its job and Ballista's gone and I can path something else. All right, it looks like it's go time on that modular plan. Where are they putting it? They are putting it on Ballista. So let's get that out of here. Then I'm probably gonna tuck the Ozolith with Teferi next turn, because it's gonna have a lot of counters on it. They decided to ramp rather than remove Snapcaster Mage from play, so that gives me a block on Zabaz next turn. I could also Snap Bolt next turn and kick the Ozolith down the road again. Another Hangerback Walker, sure. Cleansing Wildfire, is that good? It looks good. So I can cleanse their Phyrexia's Core, which is a lot of their... Alright, so the Ozolith does target. So I can... Phyrexia... Yeah, I'm gonna Wildfire Phyrexia's Core, which does a lot of their tricky stuff here. I can Snap Bolt to live another day. Alright, leaving back Snapcaster as a blocker. Ancient Stirrings. I think I Force of Negation that. Pitching Teferi, like that's not getting much better. We're in the pivotal turn right now where I need to stabilize and jam Teferi or lose, and there's not much in between. Right, so they're trying to move the counters onto Zabaz, who cannot get flying right now, by the way. So, sure, can block that. They attack with their creatures. I Snap Bolt. Snapcaster Mage. Target Lightning Bolt. So there's the bolt. Now where do I put my blockers? I think I double block Zabaz and just let the Hangerback Walkers connect, and then in response to the modular trigger, I bolt whatever they try to put their counters onto. Alright, so there's the block. I go to 4. They modular onto something. By the way, if you hear banging in the background right now, it's because there is construction going on in my basement, and I'm recording on my top floor, which hopefully won't end up too bad, but you might hear something. Alright, so the Ozolith picks up some counters. Zabaz modular fizzles. The Fairy's going to have to tuck the Ozolith. Oh, don't do more stuff. Another walker. Okay, so they have 3 damage on board. They can put me to 1, and that means I can't crack this fetch land. Oh, this sucks. So they can put me to 1, kill Teferi, and then I don't think I have any draws left in the deck. Tried so hard and got so far. I guess the one out is a YOLO draw with Teferi and hope it's a removal spell. And I can kick the can down the road one more turn. Because if I tuck the Ozolith, I go to 1 and just lose anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna cast Teferi. Let's go. All in. Lightning Helix is probably the best card I could find. Though Cryptic Command is also a banger. Let's go, deck. Help me out. Shit. Alright, well, I'm dead. See if they play around anything, though. I mean, what is there to play around? They literally just put their thing on their thing and attack. There's nothing to play around here. Yeah, I had 3 Cryptics, the Helixes, the Snapcaster Mage. There were a lot of live draws there to keep this game going, but now I'm dead. Alright. Yeah, that was tight. Freaking turn 1 Ozolith took me out. The turn that I popped my Teferi a little early. I think if I spent a turn pathing and then bounced the Ozolith the turn after I did, I would have been okay. Okay, so Platinum Empyrean is something I want in this matchup. That means I can save my removal spells for Inkmoth Nexus and don't have to care about anything else. I think I want Supreme Verdict too. I'm going to treat this like it's a Delver deck, which may or may not be the right play, but it's what I'm going to do. I don't think Force Negation is particularly good in the matchup. Like, they don't have anything I really want to 2-for-1 myself over. Cleansing Wildfire is great, just heads up, because hitting all their techie lands is nice. Jace is fine, but expensive. Teferi is a generic permanent removal spell. I think Counterspell might be a little wonky. Actually, I don't think I need all 4 Cleansing Wildfires, though having them on the play could mean a turn 3 Madcap Experiment, which is pretty good. Shark Typhoon does gain life and draw cards, which is a thing I care about. Okay, just shaved my top end down a lot. 1 Cryptic, 1 Jace, 1 Teferi. Because now I have all these other 4-drops in Supreme Verdict and Madcap Experiment that I want to cast. I think this makes sense. I have a hand with Platinum Empyrean in it and no early interaction. I'm going to mulligan. Another Platinum Empyrean in the hand, but this time I do have a bunch of interaction. I'm going to keep this and just ship the Empyrean. This is also a matchup where Fracturing Gust would be completely insane. Just saying. Card's really good in the format right now, if you think you can cast a 5-drop. The Ozolith again, the unbeatable. Okay, found a experiment. I'm just gonna land pass, because they have at least 2 basic forests. Wildfiring them doesn't make a lot of sense here when they do have techie lands. I think I just Helix like almost anything they put into play right now. Maybe not a Hangerback Walker, but most other things. Animation module. Okay, that's a good one. Oh, baby. They're setting up the long game here. So I'm actually going to stick to my plan of save Lightning Helix for Inkmoth Nexus, because hopefully it's going to be the only card that matters once we get to that point of the game. I'm not going to crack my fetch because I am trying to draw lands. Alright, do I save Wildfire also? Yes, I do. Because Wildfire is another answer to Inkmoth Nexus. Welding Jar, you got it. They're really setting up the control game here. So hopefully my combo game outdoes it. Right, they get a servo. And then I'm going to fetch in the end step. Go for the Wildfire, or not the Wildfire, the Experiment. Going to get Prairie Stream, because that one is the one that doesn't come into play untapped if I draw it. Alright, let's pop and hope this actually wins the game. Zap. Okay, so they have to remove an 8/8 or poison me out. And Walking Ballista can remove an 8/8. Just saying. Power Depot. Triggers animation module. Yeah, they're going to be like going off here. And I need to set up one of my Planeswalkers to be able to beat their combo game. Right, they did find Inkmoth Nexus. My hand has 3 answers to that, which was my plan this whole game. Right, so if I attack with Empyrean, I don't think they can kill it. There's no Death Touch. There's no sack triggers. Alright, yeah. Can I attack with Empyrean? The 8/8 is also just an 8/8. So this dumps the counters onto the Ozolith and onto the servos, and Hardened Scales will make them bigger in both directions. So I am trying to mop up material on the board. Actually winning the game is going to require Jace or Teferi. There's one of each in the deck. I guess a string of cryptic commands to tap their squad and get in could do it as well. Okay, Ballista can also do it. Eventually, but not for a long time. I'm going to clear out the Ballista right now. Beginning of combat, they'll probably target it with the Ozolith. I'm going to use Helix just because it costs 2 mana. Just get the least mana efficient card in my hand out of the way first. Okay, they're serving up over there. That gives them a double block on Empyrean, that makes sense. Right, so red, white, Helix the Ballista. They can Welding Jar if they want, or they could just let it die. Oh, didn't even ping me. I guess zooming up the Ozolith makes more sense than pinging me. This deck is insane that they're playing, by the way. Ooh, okay. So I could Lightning Bolt, Inkmoth Nexus. I actually can't do any of that because I only have one red source. So I'm going to have to Wildfire their Nexus now, which still might end up losing to this Welding Jar. They can tap it, animate it, sack Welding Jar, ramp. Yeah, not having double red is a beating, so I'm hoping that the Cleansing Wildfire card draw is a red card, or a red land. Alright, Path to Exile also does the trick. I don't have attacks here. I could attack and path one of the blockers to clear them out, but I need this path to make sure I don't lose to Inkmoth Nexus. And I can snap Cleansing Wildfire next turn. Oh god, another Hardened Scales. So I'm not in big danger of losing, though I'm struggling to determine how I win. I need a Fraction Gust to draw to. Alright, targeting Inkmoth Nexus with that. Path to Exile, get out. It's better to get rid of it now than letting the Ozolith resolve, because the Hardened Scales scale up the Ozolith moving counters on. Then when they move back to the Ozolith, do they have a Walking Ballista? What are they doing? I'm just not going to block. My life total can't change. Yeah, there's no gain to blocking there. That just charges up the Ozolith, I think. Alright, so I can snap path if things go wild here. Alright, I think they just gave me an attack. Did they? Not really. Oh no, because when things move on to the Ozolith, it triggers the module, and then you can just, yeah. Blocking and attacking don't do anything here. I just need to stay alive for a while, and win the game eventually with a Planeswalker. Also manage my clock, because I'm currently a minute ahead of the clock of them, and that is a viable win condition in this board state. Ozolithing, making another 4/4, or this one's a 5/5 actually because of the scales. Yeah, so if I just don't block or interact with their things, then they're just sort of stuck for now. I could also Snapcaster Madcap Experiment, get another Platinum Empyrean into play. Does that make sense? This is not a legend. Yeah, I'm actually into that. Snapcaster. I might regret doing this, but I think it makes sense to me in my brain right now. That's a dead draw out of the deck. It's insurance if they do find a Ballista or whatever. And I am holding up Bolt right now. Okay. So now I'm feeling pretty solid. They need to find an Inkmoth Nexus to win this game, I think. It's going to be hard to kill 2 of these. They were struggling to kill 1. And Ballista could get pretty sick pretty fast, I guess. Alright, that one I don't care about. It's crazy that I just don't care about all these 1 mana 5/5s that they have. Alright, land, go. Still in the market for Jace or Teferi. Those are the cards that start to pull me ahead to actual win conditions. Yeah, it's crazy that Power Depot just triggers animation module. Really cool deck. They got a lot of cool tools. I'm not going to pop my Scalding Tarn because at some point I might want to shuffle my deck with Jace. Counterspell feels good. With them top decking and so far behind right now, I don't actually care about that either. Which is insane to say, given what their deck does. But I'm literally just keeping Platinum Empyrean in play and keeping the Inkmoth Nexus out of play. That's the entire game right now. Now I have the next Inkmoth Nexus covered with both Lightning Bolt and Cleansing Wildfire. So I can start setting a lot of auto yields because the things I care about are very small. And I'm just grinding up clock here. Jeez, Llanowar Reborn is in the deck too. That's so cool. Oh, now we have Graft triggers every time a card comes into play. Nope. Auto yield to that immediately. Graft is one of the worst mechanics to play against on Magic Online. Teferi, cool. I can play Teferi. And I might as well draw a card, I guess. Because it's not doing anything else. Bounce Hangerback Walker. That resets those counters. It does put 7 counters onto the Ozolith, though. I guess I don't really care about that. I'm just trying to draw extra cards and make sure that I don't lose immediately. It literally didn't matter what I targeted there. I probably should have targeted a non-artifact in case they tried to fizzle the draw with Ravager, but other than that, it didn't matter. And they have plenty of attack power to kill Teferi, which makes me pretty dubious about my plan to win with Planeswalkers. Does this matter? Oh yeah, this matters a lot. Yeah, that they can just pile onto Ravager and machine gun everything out of play. That is exactly the card that matters. Oh god, did they have 2 of them? No, they have Hangerback Walker. That's the other card. Yeah, with 2 Hardened Scales in play, you sack 1 servo, it puts 3 counters on Ravager, then when you move your Ravager counters onto an X creature, it gets that many plus 2 more. Insane. Really glad we have this combo protection, this combo sideboard plan, because we're like never beating this deck fair and square. The Ozolith gets to dump onto a servo. You got it. Make another servo. Sorry this isn't more exciting viewing, but nothing I can do about it except sit behind my 8/8s and watch the clock tick down. Alright, I am not going to block. I don't think there's any reason to. Teferi's dead. I don't take damage. That's the story. I actually can't crack fetch lands because of Platinum Empyrean. I just remembered that that's a thing. Like my life total can't change, so I can't pay life. Fascinating. Alright, well, Teferi, gonna get another redraw here. This time I'm gonna bounce a Hardened Scales. Make sure that I actually get my money's worth. It's like a Cryptic command might be able to win this game. Like if I just Cryptic, if I get, so I have 16, 17, 18. I have 16 power now, and there are more Snapcasters in the deck. So if I pile up on every creature, literally every creature in the deck in play, and then tap their squad with Cryptic, I might be able to zap in. Though I think Arcbound Ravager, moving counters around, yeah, Animation Module makes that not even a play. I would have to think it out for multiple turns of like deploy Teferi, bounce Animation Module, make them respond, and then once they've responded with all the responses they're going to have, then Cryptic their squad. Alright, so combat is a viable way to win this game. Snapcaster's pretty decent. I'm going to play out this fetch land even though I can't do it. But Snapcaster feels good. There is a counterspell in the graveyard and a Path to Exile, which are most of the cards that I care about. I'm up 3 minutes on the clock right now. Alright, Stirrings is fine. I can counter what they find with it, probably. Yeah, Inkmoth Nexus is what they're looking for, so I have the Wildfire for that. They don't have a Welding Jar or anything in play right now. Alright, Wildfire, the Nexus. They can sack it so I don't get to draw a card, but they probably want to search their deck. I guess I don't know how many forests they have. But they could definitely animate it and sack it to Ravager, and at least stifle my card draw. Okay, they let it resolve. That's cool. Alright, and I can't pay life to have that enter the battlefield untapped. So we pass the turn again. One more Inkmoth Nexus down. I believe that's 2. 2 to go. Yeah, so 2 Inkmoth Nexi and 2 Walking Ballistas have been answered so far. So there's only 4 cards left in their deck I care about. Oh, another Walking Ballista. Alright, so this is going to get Snap counterspelled. Snapcaster. Counterspell. Counter that, please. Easily get 16 counters onto that thing if it resolves. Alright, I'm actually kind of in trouble. Okay, Counterspell helps me out here. That gives me another round. 3 cards left in their deck I care about, holding 1 answer right now. They're very clearly in top deck mode. Alright, they've stopped making servos. I think they realize that this is about the clock at this point. I think Needle. What does that do? Alright, resolves. I guess they name like Teferi or Jace, probably. Yeah, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. There's one of those left in the deck. Now I'm going to draw it, obviously, because that's how this works. If I draw Snapcaster Mage, that's 2 answers to 2 things, to 3 things. Alright. I'm going to keep these lands in my hand, because if I draw Jace, they're easy putbacks off of a Brainstorm. I don't currently have an answer to Inkmoth Nexus. Yeah, so there is some trouble brewing here. Burning them out is probably not a viable win condition either. Yeah, so I need a Path to Exile or Cleansing Wildfire to feel really good here. I can counterspell Ballista, but I can't counter an Inkmoth. Yeah, I'm farther behind than I actually feel like right now. Like this, I'm completely exposed to an Inkmoth. Right, I'm going to play a land just so I don't have to go to discard. So now I have 3 removal spells, and they have 2 Ravagers. So I think I actually am... Alright, 1... Alright, I don't even gain 4, bummer. Alright, 1 in play is the same as 2 in play. That doesn't matter. I'm glad I got the second one. Yeah, that's a no from me, dog. Yeah, that's not the play. Alright, it looks like they knew about this possibility. Right, now my counterspell's gone. Dead to Ballista again. Gotta find a Snapcaster or some more counters before it's too late. How about a Cryptic Command? That's a card in my deck, right? I vaguely remember having some of those. Okay, Snapcaster Mage. I'll take that. Though my Cryptic Command tap you attack line is mostly gone now. But Snapcaster answers either Ballista or Inkmoth as needed. Alright, they didn't find either in that. Look at their top 5. Hanger back. Still fine. Still don't care. Though I do have 9 points of burn in hand, so there might be a line still where I can burn them out and attack them. Castle Vantress, hell yeah. That's going to go off this game. That's the kind of thing I was looking for. And I found it just in time to break open this stalemate, because I currently have Snapcaster, which can answer one of their threats. Gotta make sure I don't tap out of triple blue for Snap Counterspell. Yeah, alright, still holding up triple blue. Hey, that's both of the cards I wanted. Top. Top. Okay, so I think there's a plan to win the game here. Just gotta figure out what it is. I'm gonna pass the turn. And what I have to do here, I have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 damage in play. So if I throw all of my burn at their face in the end step, and then go to Teferi, bounce animation module. Oh no, that's not even true. They have millions of blockers with Hangerback Walker. Never mind. Alright. I'm going to save time and just draw the Cryptic here. What do I do here? I think I just discard Madcap Experiment. If there is a line that exists. It involves Teferi and Cryptic Command somehow. Could also just hide behind the clock. Oh wait, when did this thing come into play? I totally just blinked and that didn't happen. Whoops, alright. I totally missed that land drop last turn. Whoops. Shit. Luckily it's okay. I can just bounce that with Cryptic or tap it. Yeah, I was just busy trying to figure out if I could burn them out and missed the boat on my Cleansing Wildfire, but I still have Snap Path. Like this is actually fine. So in response to the first Ravager sacking itself, all right, Ravager's in the graveyard, so I'm going to Lightning Bolt. Then the second Ravager is going to have to sack itself. Then I Lightning Bolt again, and then they're out of gas. I want to save the Cryptic and the Snapcaster if I can avoid using them. All right, Lightning Bolt again. All right, they're out of juice. And they have less than 5 minutes on their clock. Gotta clear this stack, and then we're good. Ozolith gets to pile onto something that doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to time them out. I think they're out of answers at this point. Or out of plays. Yeah, the Snapcaster should lock it. Like, there's 3 Inkmoth Nexus and 2 Walking Ballista answered. I'm holding 3 counterspells and or 3 removal spells as needed. I think they should concede and save time to go to the next game. Like, that is the strategic line here. Unless they're just going to start F6ing to get ahead. Bottom, top, right. Then I can cast Teferi, which doesn't really do anything, but I'm just going to put it into play, make them make decisions. Veil of Summer, you got it. So you can draw an extra card here. Now or never. I can cast sorceries as if they are instants, because I can't bounce anything. Pass the turn. I don't care if they kill Teferi, and they're gonna. Grafdigger's Cage, that kind of matters. But I can bounce it with Cryptic if I need to. Another one. Does that matter? It's hard to tell. Alright, they can attack me here. If they want to. If they don't attack with enough things, Shark Typhoon can ambush. Alright, Shark Typhoon. Actually, I just don't care. Teferi's gone. The double cage is actually a little bit worrisome. Cleansing Wildfire, that's a good answer. Waiting in the wings. Yeah, I'm just going to pass and let the clock win this game for me. Arcbound Worker doesn't matter. Animation Module doesn't matter. Nothing matters. I've been saying that for like 30 minutes now. Bless you all for sticking this out. Activate Castle Vantress. Counterspell. Bottom. Top. Just have to make sure I don't end up behind on clock, which is the only way I lose this match. I guess I can cast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm holding Counterspell. Yeah, let's go. Shark Typhoon's in play now. This taps me out of Cryptic for a turn, so I may have just opened a window for them to like double spell kill me. Alright, they conceded to the hardcast Shark Typhoon. Okay. They have 3 minutes left to win a game. I have 6 minutes to not lose a game. The Cryptic command was actually a big deal. Like, that does... The game did devolve into some weird spaces there that I guess shouldn't have surprised me, but kind of did. So what really matters? Teferi matters, helped me stay alive long enough to get to the mid-game. The combo matters a lot. The Grafdigger's Cage is for Madcap Experiment, so they definitely knew about this. There's no doubt about that now. If there ever was. Now there's not. So they might mulligan more aggressively to Cage, which means that maybe I shouldn't be on the plan so hard. But I just gotta stay alive for a while. Is Force of Negation something I want in the stay alive department? I don't think so. I think my deck... Oh, shit. I just submitted 61 cards. Whoops. 61 card special. Let's go. I added the Cryptic command. I forgot to cut something different. I'm going to keep this. It ramps into Madcap. They have a turn 1 Hardened Scales. Play this. So I have a turn 3 Madcap. Let's see what they have to say about it. Hangerback Walker's pretty good. Alright. Cleansing Wildfire myself. Yes. Get a red land. No, I have Cryptic. I can get a red land with this. I can get the Sacred Foundry. Though that still doesn't cast Cryptic. I'm just going to get Hallowed Fountain. Should have got Prairie Stream. Playing fast. Oh, they had the Cage. Alright, so I have to set up a 2-turn line here where I bounce Cage, untap, jam. Which shouldn't be too hard to do. Alright, they have Ravager. Alright, and the Ozolith. Okay, Ozolith is fine. So I can play Teferi. Just put Teferi into play. Hold up Rockrin Triome. Plus Teferi. Pass the turn. So this way, if they attack Teferi, I have Path to Exile. Alright, I have to let them get into combat. Or else they would have been able to Ozolith up the Blinkmoth Nexus. They are attacking Teferi, so Path to Exile, go. Then Teferi bounces Cage. I Madcap. We do know they have answers to this in their deck. Let's hope they don't have them in time. Oh, awkward. Please don't draw the other one right now. Oh, I almost freaked out. I was like, that's the other one, but it's not the other one. It's the, it's another Madcap. I guess I could have done this as an instant. It might have been better. Maybe it doesn't matter. Hard to say. Alright, Grafdigger's Cage is back. I'm just F6'd here. Playing for the clock. They can clean out Teferi with their flyers. Right, they're pumping into Blinkmoth Nexus here. Pretty hard. Oh, they just want to attack with Ravager. Got it. That makes sense. They're offering the trade, which I am obviously not going to take. Oh, they didn't even offer the trade. Didn't even attack. Did they click through their attack? They must have. Awkward, but I'll take it. Right, plus Teferi, pass the turn. They have 1 minute to my 4.5 to figure out what to do about this. Right, no attacks again. Walking Ballista, that's the kind of thing that I can lose to. Counter target spell, draw a card. Get that out of here. Stirrings, sure. Found another Ballista. Okay, so what do I do about the second Ballista? So they have Grafdigger's Cage in play. I can lose my Teferi. I could bounce Ravager right now, which it doesn't keep counters off because of Ozolith. I'm gonna bounce Grafdigger's Cage because like Snap Cryptic is my plan here. Sick. I don't need the second Teferi because Snap Cryptic is still the plan. I guess I could have bounced, or no, oh yeah, if I play Teferi, then I have Snap Path. Right, Cage is just back into play, so what does that do? It makes me commit to the Cryptic now. Right, Cryptic. I'm going to counter this and bounce a counter target spell and do what? Return target permanent? What permanent? Ravager? No, that doesn't do anything. Counter target spell, draw a card is the answer. Yeah, counter draw is the best option I have here. Like, nothing that I'm doing actually removes Ravager from play. Weird, why would you fire that up before combat? That is Blinkmoth Nexus. Oh, you might have Nature's Flame? Oh no. Oh, they're just timing out. Okay, got it. Woof. GG's. Just timing my opponent out like you read about. I think there was a line, if this was an actual paper match of Magic, where the chess clock wasn't a win condition, I feel like there might have been a line to like Cryptic attack or burn them out in concert with a Cryptic attack, though that game too would have been really hard. That was insane. The having one Fracturing Gust to draw to in a situation like that would have been a game changer. Wild match. If you're still here, thanks for sticking it out. On the play in round number 4, and I don't think I can keep this hand. It just doesn't do anything. Ship it. Here we go. This one casts Counterspell and has some early interaction. I'm going to send the Jace to the bottom, because that's just the one that matters once you're set up, and won't matter if we don't get to set up. It's Scalding Tarn, go. My plan is to fetch Rockrin Triome. See what we're up against. See if we're playing another 50-minute round. Alright, it's not a 50-minute round. I am glad that I kept Path to Exile in my deck for this one. Do I take 3 now to just path this thing? I think so. So I am going to get the Hallowed Fountain. Take my 3. I think Swift Spear would have done more than 3 damage over the course of this game if I don't do this now. And this lets me leave up Counterspell next turn, which also cost me 2 life, but at least I get to cast Counterspell. Like, this lets me curve up, but I'm wondering if the cost of curving up is just 5 life. Like, if I just played off curve for a turn, would it have dealt more than 5 to me? And I think so. Riftbolt's been suspended. Top deck Teferi. Well, I'm committed to playing on curve here, so I can't just shock in and then not cast a spell. Alright, Teferi off the top. Teferi. 3 mana Teferi off the top. Bummer. In case you don't know the interaction, 3 mana Teferi makes it so suspend cards don't work, because they can only cast cards when they can cast sorceries, which your upkeep is not a time you can cast sorceries. They're fetching in the end step. Do they have a spell? Yes, they have a bolt. So I'm at 9 from the Rift Bolt that I can see right now. They have 4 cards in their hand. Definitely conceivable that I am slain here. Alright, I'm gonna make a 1/1 shark in the end step. Tapping out might kill me, but not tapping out definitely will. I would like to find a blue source so I can snap Counterspell. I think that would be what I'm really interested in doing here. There we go. Alright, snap Counterspell's up. I'm not attacking with this shark. That's not its job. Its job is to make sure Goblin Guy doesn't hit me. Skullcrack. I'll take 3. They do have some 4 mana spells in their deck. Yeah, maybe I'm just supposed to fire off Snapcaster on anything there. Do I counter this? I think I can just block it. Alright, so I block this. If they have another spell, Snapcaster can block the Swift Spear again. Ooh, that's even better. Alright, so Teferi in there, draw a card. As long as they don't bolt me right now, I'm in pretty good shape. So end step, let this untap happen. I'm going to untap these 2, and I'm going to Helix right now. If this works, and I have Snap Helix going into the next turn, like if they have Skullcrack, untap Lightning Bolt me. Uh-oh. Well, they had Skullcrack. Alright, gotta dodge bolt. Dodge bolt for 1 turn. Come on, deck. Or come on, opponent's deck, please fail them. Just cast Goblin Guide. Or cast nothing. Just pass the turn. That's also fine. Don't do me like this. Yes, land. Yeah, let me untap. Okay. Now I'm holding up Lightning Helix. And Teferi's ticking. Tick, 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 tick. Don't love Flooded Strand here. So if they build up enough cards in hand, they can overwhelm basically anything I'm offering. So they didn't have a bolt, right? Unless that was an epic slow roll, I think I should just fire off Lightning Helix now. I think that makes sense. Just get my 3 life right now. All right, yeah, they're conceding to that. Yeah, that was the right time to do that. If they had bolt, they would have slammed it on their turn. And right now I can gain 3 life, make sure I don't get danced around with a double bolt, and then Teferi is just chunking away. Yeah. All right, found the spot there. That was tight. All right, well, this is a Madcap Experiment matchup for sure. It's an Aether Gust matchup for sure. I don't think it's a Sacrifice or Envac matchup. So this is a white pro red. It has a bunch of other text about exiling black and red things from the graveyards, but that doesn't matter. Like, do I think a 2/2 pro red is something I'm in business for? And I think that my Platinum Empyrean is already doing that job. So Jace is kind of chunky in this matchup. And Valakut Awakening, I've been cutting that a lot. Maybe I just don't understand the card, or maybe it's not good. It's one or the other. This is not a Cleansing Wildfire matchup at all. I want some Cryptics for the late game. I guess I don't need Teferi so much. But I think I want the Cryptics. And Force of Negation does keep me alive to get to the experiment. I need all this early interaction, all my snaps. Medium-sized Teferi, or 3 fairy, might not be the best, because... Oh, but clipping Rift Bolts is a huge game. I think it might be Cryptic that gets the cut, because I'm bringing in 3 Aether Gusts, which is a 2 mana, also interactive spell. Alright, this is the plan. Alright, a couple of counter spells and Snapcasters. I don't think this is what I need to win this game. Alright, this is a lot better. Aether Gust can answer a creature in play, which is something my previous hand could not do, so I'm going to keep this and send one of the forces to the bottom. Swift Spear, yep, that's going to be good for a few damages. No thanks. Alright, Scalding Tarn's in play. I'm probably going to fetch Steam Vents with this in the end step and represent Aether Gust next turn. So if I fetch Steam Vents, I can play the Flooded Strand and represent Counterspell or Aether Gust. They get in for 1. Just 1, it seems. Eidolon. Yeah, that one's a beating. And I'm gonna get the Rockran Triumph actually. Change my mind. That one is just Steam Vents plus. Then holding up Gust or Counterspell here. A Madcap Experiment is a 4-drop, so it doesn't care about Eidolon. But I do need to draw it and survive long enough to cast it. Alright, so I think I do want to Gust the Eidolon in combat. I take 2 damage from it either way, so might as well just clear it out. And countering it on the way back down is kind of my plan here. They put Eidolon on top. Okay, so that does line up with countering it next turn. Suspended Riftbolt. So Teferi's a good draw. Not Teferi. That's okay. Alright, so I think I'm gonna Force of Negation the Riftbolt. Like pitch cast. Does that make any sense? No, because next turn I can... So if I take 7 right now, I'm at 5. And then I can counterspell the Eidolon. But if they have any other burn spell here, I am dead. And this is turn 4. So they've missed a land drop twice. So we know their hand is 2 spells. Alright, I'm gonna absorb the damage by Force of Negationing this. Like, if I knew their hand were blanks, I would not do that, but I know their hand is not blanks. So here come these jerks. I'm at 8. Counter Eidolon. And draw Madcap Experiment. That's the plan. Madcap? Madcap? Fuck! Well, both of my Jaces are out here. No way to get these back in the deck. I'm dead. Alright, well, I play twice as many Madcaps as I do Platinum Empyreans, but we lost our weighted coin flip twice there. But now I get to be on the play for game 3 and try again. Does anything change? Play draw. Shark Typhoon might be clunkier than I want it to be, actually, now that I'm looking at the card. Though, on the play, it does cycle to absorb 1 damage and draw you 1 card closer to 4 mana plus Experiment, which I think is what this matchup is about. Am I ever going to have time to Jace an Empyrean back into my deck? Probably not, but maybe it's better than Hero of Dominaria. Maybe it's better than Shark Typhoon. Actually, I think it's probably better than Hero of Dominaria. Alright, here's my plan. Let's go. I'm choosing to play first. I have Lightning Helix. Only 2 lands, none of them are blue. I am going to keep this, though. This is the kind of hand that can get there. A blue source, like I have Bolt into Helix. A blue source cast Teferi, which redraws and buys more time. So I'm just going to trust my deck with its 23 lands to deliver a couple of them before I lose. Mountain go. Let's just curve Lightning Bolt into Lightning Helix, remove 2 creatures. That's the game I want to play right now. I don't think they're going to have Mutagenic Growth, so I'm just going to fire this off. They're not a Prowess deck, they're a Burn deck. Ooh, Rockran Triome. Do I take the turn off for that, or do I hold up Helix? Alright, I'm going to take the turn off for this. Because if they do suspend Rift Bolts this turn, the Teferi can snag them. Yeah, and Eidolon, I'm going to take damage answering that one way or the other. Wow. Helix and Path. So I'm going to pass. If they want to cast any pre-combat creatures, I want them to burn for it. The one risk here is Boros Charm, which can give Eidolon of the Great River indestructible. The other risk here is that I didn't take my cantrip off Teferi, but I'm still at 20 life on turn 3. So I think I have time for that. I hope. Hope and dream. Alright, they suspended Riftbolt. They're going to get them real good here. So Lightning Helix. If they have Boros Charm, they have Boros Charm. If they have Skullcrack, that's fine. They still lose their Eidolon. Or maybe that just resolves. And Teferi is about to snag this Riftbolt. Yeah, get out of my house. Gain 3 life here, gain 3 life there. Probably gonna just throw a couple bolts at me on the way out here, or a Skullcrack. Or they would have Skullcracked on their own turn if they had it. So Boros Charm maybe? Yeah. Interesting they'd rather deal 4 there than save their Eidolon. I'm going to Teferi targeting nothing, trying to hit my land drop. Got there. Alright, so Riftbolt is stranded forever. They have 3 cards in their hand. I'm at 17, and I can Madcap at instant speed moving forward. This is the best feeling. Riftbolt exiled with no suspend counters on it. Have you ever seen a Platinum Empyrean eat an Eidolon of the Great Revel in combat? Because that's what's about to happen. I get to draw an extra card. I even have the whole operation protected by Force of Negation. Not that I need it because I have Teferi. Oh, wow. Burn. Burn. So they're going to attack, and they're going to concede to my spell. Whammy. And I'm going to block Swift Spear, not the Eidolon, because I want them locked under their own Eidolon facing down an 8/8 when my life total can't change. But it doesn't matter. As expected, they conceded to the creature in play. GG, that was a smooth one. I love beating Burn. Ugh. On to the final round. I'm on the draw in the 5th and final round, playing for the 4-1 record. The positive record is locked. I'm going to keep this hand. It has all my colors and 3 lands and some interactive stuff. So what else do you want from an opener in a game 1 situation where you don't know what you're playing against? Tron, okay. Haven't done this yet. I think I'm going to do better Force of Negationing Karn than the Expedition map. Like, it's kind of a crapshoot either way. Like, I might regret this, I might regret that. Who knows? But I'm playing Prairie Stream now, because that's always going to come in tapped, and it's never going to be a spell. Uh-oh. Turn 3 Tron guaranteed. Cleansing Wildfire off the top, please. Alright, no love there. I think I need to play... Actually, maybe this is still has a chance to be good. No, I think I need to play this as the land. Bummer. Yeah, this is a good matchup to have 4 Cleansing Wildfires in the main, but not knowing what I'm playing against. Tricky business. This is not a matchup where Madcap Experiment is going to bail me out. I gotta actually out-control this deck and control its mana, Cleansing Wildfires, like counter spells. That's what this is going to be. I don't have a cheese factor, don't have a Blood Moon in the sideboard. Just going to have to beat them fair and square. Expedition map popped at the end of the turn, no surprise there. I'm going to take a wild guess that they're going to get Urza's Power Plant with it. I guessed right, imagine that. Urza's Power Plant is in play. Was I right to wait and Force Negation Karn? Luckily I don't care about, like, Worm Coil Engine. Alright, Thought-Knot Seer. Sure. I actually think I should path this first. So I can let them take path and double bolt this, but I'd rather just get my 1-for-1 and not have to worry about 2-for-1ing this thing later. So I draw the card first, then they get to take the card. So this does appear to be Eldrazi Tron, because they have a waste in their deck and not a forest. I would rather play against Eldrazi Tron than actual Tron, I'm pretty sure, though it might be close. It might be pretty close to the same thing. Expedition map. Alright, so they stripped my Force of Negation and played Expedition map. So I think that a big Karn is coming here. Alright, I'm going to play the Flooded Strand. That's the thing they know about. And they get to map again in the end step because Tron is busto. I just noticed that the display of my recording software is frozen right now. And I'm hoping that this is recording. This happened the other day, and it was recording the whole time. It was just displaying weird. I do ask a lot of my computer when I'm recording these things. Alright, there's Karn. I am shocked by this play. If they minus, they lose it to Bolt. So they're going to exile a card from my hand. I guess I should give them one of the bolts, I think. Yeah, they can have one of the bolts. I'm trying to get up to Teferi to like cast and tuck the Karn. This is going to be tough though. My window to break up Tron and really slow them down has come and gone in a spectacular fashion. I'm going to fetch the Triome here so they can start wastelanding me or strip mining me with Karn next turn. So now it's out of Bolt range and they know they don't have to play around Bolt. Oh, look who decided to join the party. So do I hit their Urza Saga or do I take them off Tron? This is a tough call. Is there a multi-turn line here where I can bounce the Karn, take them off Tron so they can't replay it? I guess that's the big question. I think I need to wildfire them off of Tron. Don't know how I'm going to beat this Karn yet, but here's my plan. They do have 2 basics. Alright, hit my land. Did I have a bolt snap bolt line to kill Karn? No, I just got to 4 lands this turn. That's right. That's how linear counting works. But they need to hit my land with Karn this turn because they know Teferi is in my hand. If they plus this Karn, I'm just doing a victory lap. But if they minus Karn, bolt snap bolt kills it. Alright, red, lightning bolt. Oh no, it doesn't. God, I'm so incapable of doing math. Unreal. Unreal. I mapped out this whole line to like bounce the Karn so they couldn't replay it. And then just chose not to take it. The Urza Saga can get Expedition Map when it pops off, which replaces the tower. Drawing the Great Creator. Bummer. Probably not beating that one. They can grab the thing, Liquid Metal Coating. I always forget the name of that card, even though I play it a lot. So they could get Coating and start coating my lands. I can Snap Bolt Karn the Great Creator in the upkeep, though, and clear that out. Oh, Crucible. That's so much worse. Okay, so this is Cryptic Command. So they can just replay their Tron shit anyway. So if they minus Karn now, they lose it to Snap Bolt. I guess they could tutor for like Relic of Progenitus to play around that. Maybe I'm just supposed to Snap Bolt Karn right now. Then it goes to 1, and if they plus, oh, it goes up to 5. God, Karn is busted. Alright. I'm gonna let them tutor, get their thing that messes up my graveyard. Oh, they got Expedition Map. That's weird. Why would you do that? You already have an Urza's Tower in the graveyard. Unless they're not getting Tower. Which might make some sense. I don't know. Weird. I guess they can't really get the Relic of Progenitus because they have Crucible and they're trying to do stuff with it. They're going to lose one of their Karns this turn. Alright, so I'm going to Snap Bolt here. And I'm going to bolt the other Karn. Because I can attack the existing Karn with Snapcaster to kill it. I just have to play like their hand is empty because I'm not beating their board already. They have infinite mana. They can do whatever they want. If they have a backup Karn Liberated, I'm in trouble. Chalice on 1. Okay. Probably should have started the turn with that one. Endbringer. Okay. So I bounce Endbringer with Cryptic. Kill Karn. Hope to... Oh, even better. Yeah, that's way better. White. Blue, blue. Get you out of here. Attack Karn. Alright, there we go. Now I've bridged into Teferi, Big Teferi, which can tuck the Endbringer. Or ignore it, depending on what my draws are. Can't help but feel like this game could have been played differently on the opponent's side. Not that I'm winning, but I'm more stable than I feel like I have any right to be. Ugin the Ineffable. Alright, so he's going to F up something. Teferi, probably? Or do you just start making manifest things? Alright. Crucible is basically free now. They have a zillion mana. Yeah, Ugin does pay for itself immediately. Right, they left 2 mana floating. Was that an overtap or... Oh, you just had to. Okay, got it. Exile the top card. Alright. So, what's the play now? I can Cryptic to tap their things. I could just jam this Teferi to tuck Ugin and try to get ahead of that, but Endbringer can just dig it out. Yeah, I think the chance to play this game has come and gone. Though it's closer than it should be. Counterspell. Does that do anything? Not this turn. Might have last turn. So this destroys a permanent that's 1 or more colors, so that can just kill Teferi anyway. I can chalk this in. I guess I want to remove Ugin from play. Do my best over there. And I think I should be shocking in because they have Ghost Quarter Crucible active already, which as a vintage player I have a lot of respect for. So Ugin can kill Teferi anyway, so gonna take the forced play. I think just cycling Teferi for 5 mana is a lot worse than removing Ugin for 5 mana, at least temporarily. It goes third from the top, so even if they draw a card with Endbringer right now, they won't quite be at Ugin, and then I have Counterspell and Cryptic lined up to catch it on the way back down. Though, I am not optimistic about any of this. Endbringer can just tap to kill Teferi. This is something. Like, whatever this is going to go in their hand soon. Is this a trigger? Untap Endbringer during... Nope, that's not a trigger, damn. Yeah, if that was a trigger, I could bounce Endbringer before it could kill Teferi, but that's not how this works at all. Yeah, Saga out of the bin. Makes a lot of sense. Let me get to my main phase. Let me get... Oh my god, they gave me priority. They fucked that up real bad. They should have pinged Teferi in my upkeep. Wow. Alright. More borrowed time. We don't deserve any of this, but I'm going to take all of it. So now I can bounce Endbringer. Like, they ping Teferi. Right, so in the end step, Teferi triggers 1, 2, 3, 4. Cryptic. Return target permanent to its owner's hand and draw a card. That's what I want to do. Bounce this. That goes back into the hand. They're going to draw a card in response. Send it back. Untap 2 lands. I'm going to get these two. And now I'm still holding up Cryptic. Yeah, they should have picked off Teferi. They might still overpower me. Like, this Crucible of Worlds endgame is preposterous. But still, it's the principle of the thing. Right, I'm gonna have to bounce that thing and draw a card. Because Teferi is the only thing still keeping me in this game. Which is unfortunate because... Or maybe, actually... I'm gonna lose that Ugin anyway, so... They can kill Teferi, it's fine. It's not fine, but I think leaving a 2/2 in play is better than letting an Ugin be in play. Counter draw the Ugin. And I think drawing is still what I need to do. Like, I need to pull ahead on cards. Just bouncing one of these permanents or whatever is not going to do what I need it to. So they get the Endbringer here. So another Planeswalker keeps me treading water for a minute. But this Urza Saga is going to start making constructs, so even that's not going to hold up for long. But Little Teferi would be a good draw here. I'd even take a Jace. Cleansing Wildfire. Alright, that is a redraw, kind of. It also slows down the Saga. They get 1 construct instead of 2. They don't get to tutor. And taking the redraw, the cantrip onto this is nice. Alright, so we see 2 wastes now, but not 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. Right, I can't chalk this in, even though holding up double counterspell would be pretty cool. And Supreme Verdicts are all in my sideboard, so I don't think I can win this game. They're just in for 10. They can ping me on my next turn. Don't even need to cast spells. They can just start testing me with Ghost Quarters, but I think playing Urza Saga is better. Ooh, Seagate Wreckage. Oh, that's not even close. How are they going to get Hellbent? Urza Saga was a much better land than that. Oh, maybe it just didn't matter. They're elbow tapping here. Okay, counterspell that. Put it in the graveyard. Counterspell is a legal modern card now. Don't care about Mind Stone. Do they have one more thing to get Hellbent? Nope. Ooh, Jace. This is not actually going to help, but I will use it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can bounce Endbringer, but doesn't matter. Any of my 1-mana interaction is turned off from Chalice. I'm just going to pretend I can do anything here. Which I can't, for the record. So put back. So Endbringer pings me once, and then again on their turn. Alright, I'll Wildfire again, just out of pride. Just take you off Tron with my Dying Breath. They've also played this whole round really slowly, so making them take another turn, making them make decisions could end up mattering. Oh, they know Endbringer can tap to deal damage now. That's unlucky for me. Right, just go into combat. I'm not going to show them the Shark Typhoon. They didn't bother attacking Jace. Bummer. Lightning Helix would have been a banger right there. Just take out the construct, stay alive. Okay, what am I doing now? I think the Supreme Verdicts come in, and maybe the vetoes. But I don't have a great plan for this. Actually, do I want the Empyreans? I think I do. Like, when I said, I don't remember if I knew they were Eldrazi Tron versus regular Tron when I said I'm not bringing in the Empyreans, but if they only have Karn Liberated and Ulamog to answer it, and my, like, destroying their lands is my plan A anyway, like, I just don't think that a lot of what I'm doing lines up against what they're doing. Like, I don't think Lightning Helix is great. Cryptic's probably good. The Planeswalker's probably good. Valakut Awakening getting boarded out again. Just the mystery card. Don't know why it's there. Get rid of it. Force of Negations. Those will keep Planeswalkers out of play, and I actually think that my plan should be madcapping and then countering their Planeswalkers. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. And then they have Walking Ballistas as well that I need to watch out for. But knowing I need to mull for Cleansing Wildfire is important here. I think Shark Typhoon might actually start getting the cut here. Nope, maybe I don't need 3 Force of Negation. Is Force of Negation better than Dovin's Veto? I want the Supreme Verdicts in case I need to clear out a board where I haven't madcapped. So that's actually a big deal. And Cryptic can do the tap draw thing for a while. That's pretty good, especially on the play. Lightning Bolt might be bad. Okay. Oh yeah, we've seen Chalice of the Void. And I only have 4 1-drops in the deck, and I only really care about 2 of them. But Lightning Bolt can pressure Planeswalkers, which is important to me. Is it more important than Force of Negation? Maybe not. Yeah, if I'm just in on this mono Platinum Empyrean plan, this is kind of a bold strategy that modern experts out there, please tell me if this is how you're supposed to play this matchup or if it's just something I invented. Ooh, should I keep the 0-lander? Not that bold. Alright, I have a Cleansing Wildfire. That's step 1. I will keep this hand, based entirely on the strength of Cleansing Wildfire. And I'm going to put one of the paths on the bottom, because let me tell you about Mana Denial, backed by Path to Exile. It's not a combo. There's Tower. Tower's going to get fired. Going to get my Triome. It is nice to just have one Triome in random decks, like any deck with fetch lands. Oh, baby. No Tron for you. And their deck is the version that doesn't really need Tron to function. It just is nice. It's also nice that they played another copy of the same Tron land I already destroyed, because that lets me thin out more and more copies of the same one, which makes it less likely to just naturally draw Tron later. They tutored up Eldrazi Temple. Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I'm going to play Flooded Strand, so I can Path to Exile their Thought-Knot Seer. Oh, they didn't have a second waste. It must be in their hand. They had 2 last game. Fascinating. I like that. Big, big fan of that. So I want to get another white source. I'm going to get the Prairie Stream now while it's free to do. And I'm going to snap Wildfire. They showed me they don't have another waste in their deck. Either that or they just misclicked. We're about to find out. But I can snap Wildfire twice in a row now. Just keep this beatdowns coming. Okay, cool. This is one way to beat Tron, for sure. Yeah, there's the other ways. I think I should take the trade. 3 or less. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to block. Let's go. They can't cast most things they'd flip. Okay, a land came into play. That is above average. Cleansing Wildfire is destroy target land, so I can Wildfire their wastes if I want to. And I believe that I do. It's Snapcaster. Let's keep it going. Hit your wastes. Bang. Alright, exiling Snapcaster on the way out. You got me good. Alright, now I have to pivot into winning the game mode. I have successfully stopped them from Tronning me out in the cheese factory, but I need to win the game now. Shark Typhoon's pretty good at that. So I do have a beatdown strategy here. I'm holding up Cryptic at this point, so if they cast a spell, I can Cryptic. If they don't, I can Shark Typhoon. Just proactively charging up their Blast Zone. They're trying to get that up to 8 before it's too late. 4 mana, a 3rd tower. I'll Cryptic this. Counter draw. As much as I don't love using a Cryptic command on a random creature that I can answer, like that particular creature is one that is harder to answer than average. Right, I'm not going to run out Teferi. It has nothing to bounce. I'd rather get Shark Typhoon into play and start attacking. Right, Urza's Saga's in play now. You got it. Yeah, this is the creature I wanted to Path to Exile. Or just ignore completely. I don't think I can ignore it though. So Path, I'll have to discard something. So I actually want to Shark Typhoon first. See if I draw a card I'd rather discard. I can Typhoon for 2. And I could Path to Exile this. I could just also not. Like I could bounce it with Teferi and just do it next turn. Yeah, that's a pretty good bounce for Teferi. If I find the Empyrean, I can ignore this, which is also part of my calculations here. Teferi is also pretty good at ignoring that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna untap. I am not gonna attack with the shark. Untap 2 things that cast Path to Exile. Saga ticks up. I think I am going to Path discarding. Oh, nice. They committed to a Dismember to get Teferi's trample damage through. Like before I even made the block, they just like fired it in. Alright, and we know they have nothing to search for with Path. That is well established at this point. Find the Great Creator. Nope. And I'm gonna pitch Supreme Verdict. I don't think that's where this game's going to be. And get Sacred Foundry. I can Snapcaster Cryptic at this point. Draw a card. I can play Teferi 1, 2, 3, and then untap 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I can play Teferi and still Snapcaster Cryptic because of different Teferi. I'm gonna bounce Urza Saga. Hell yeah. It's an enchantment. And untap 2 things. 1, 2. Alright, holding up Cryptic Command and every other spell in my deck. They can't cast instants. I just reset their tutor, so the Pithing Needle plan is gone. Chalice on 1. That's not what I'm worried about right now. Yeah, I'm gonna Castle Vantress. I'm looking for the Madcap Experiment now. Bottom both of these lands. That's not what I want at all. Cleansing Wildfire is a nice one. And I can play it as an instant, which is even better. But I think I want to target myself. No, that's not true. Alright, I'm going to play this, play the other copy, keep the original. Do I have a Plains left to search for? The basics should still be in there at the very least. Alright, that was close. Then Wildfire, the Saga. Yeah, I just don't want to have to deal with that thing. And I'm still holding up Snapcaster Cryptic. And Teferi is very close to going off. Alright, feeling good. Turns out when you cast 6 Cleansing Wildfires, Tron has a hard time doing what they want to do. Reality Smasher. Counterspell. Oh, that feels good. I love having Counterspell in Modern. They did that just for me. I could have tapped differently and left up Castle Vantress, so that was kind of loose, but I'm just at the point where I don't think it matters, and just kind of playing shitty as a result. I could Castle now to use my Teferi a little bit, but again, I just don't think it matters. My hand has 4 answers in it. Teferi's popping next turn. Then all their spells are gone forever. Alright. No, this is fine. Endbringer resolves. It doesn't have haste. So Teferi's going to pop. And I have a bunch of ways to draw cards right away. Bottom, bottom. Okay. So Teferi Emblem. Whenever I draw a card, their shit's gone. I'm going to bounce their Chalice of the Void, which draws a card, and exiles Nope. Eldrazi Temple. And I can Path to Exile the Endbringer. And I can Teferi. Bouncing nothing, exiling Blast Zone. Trigger again, exile Blast Zone. And oh, that's another Teferi. I almost passed the turn, but we're just going all the way deep. I can Teferi, exile another land, and hold up Counterspell going into their turn. That's how you do it, kids. And untap 2 mana to hold up Counterspell. Good luck. Okay. They can recoup a lot of time here if they want to. I don't even care about that. Because winning the game is not trivial with the Moto clock here. So draw a card, exile this one, Wildfire, leaving them with literal nothing. Off the Wildfire cantrip, I get to exile Chalice. Okay, so here's this, and then Jace will go into business mode. Still have the counterspell. I'm just going to be plussing Jace for the rest of this game. Alright, and just got to manage my clock, and this game is easily won. I might not even activate my other planeswalkers. Yeah, I think I'm just going to be going to... I guess this one I could activate, but it doesn't matter. This game is going to start moving really fast because they're just F6 waiting for me to win somehow. Alright, All Is Dust is in their deck. Good to know. And plus on them. Nope, you can have that. I'll just go to cleanup. Discard Supreme Verdict. I don't want them to see the madcap for game 3 if I don't have to show it to them. And plus on you again. You can keep that. And I guess I could just put Snapcaster Mage into play. Target literally anything. Pass the turn. That's just so I don't have to discard. I was losing that anyway. Exile your shit. In there. Discard the other Snapcaster. Yeah, I'm just hiding information. That's all that's going on right now. Discard Force. This is where Magic Online gets really stupid. But I believe this is the correct play for them to make. It is their out to play this game. Just investing in their future. Hard to be mad at them for that. Alright, they're on their last card. Just have to make sure I don't discard anything that gives away information. And they're dead. Alright, that did get them like 2 minutes on the clock, which is part of the game. We have seen opponents time out in this very league already. And I did just demonstrate that my deck's pretty slow at winning. Though I could have turned the corner really quickly if I wasn't hiding this information with the Empyrean. If I just jam an 8/8 and attack twice, that actually ends the game very quickly, and they don't know that I have access to that. So we've seen All Is Dust. That was one of the things that I saw when I was plussing the Jace. Does that change anything? I don't think so. Like, I have all the Force Negations, which was my plan for that anyway. I don't want Dovin's Veto. I want Chalice of the Void to be bad. I hate when Chalice of the Void is good against me, and it currently only gets 3 cards. So I'm going to stick with that. Do I want Shark Typhoon over anything else that's going on here? And I don't think that I do. That's a mulligan. No lands. That's all lands. Mulligan. Okay. I'll try this one. Send Platinum Empyrean and one of the paths, or the Bolt is worse than the path to the bottom. This is kind of shitty because it doesn't have a Cleansing Wildfire, which is the card that I really need to get rolling. So let's draw Wildfire right now. Right now. Uh-oh. One more chance to draw Wildfire. Alright, I am not going to shuffle my deck because oh yeah. Oh yeah. Had it the whole time. So I'm going to get Sacred Foundry here so I have all my colors. Yes, shock it in. Destroy tower. Spy in time. The first cantrips into the next one, right? That's how we do this. Okay, well now I have something I can pitch easily to Force of Negation. Was I supposed to Force of Negation the Expedition map? That might be a thing. Alright, well, the Cleansing Wildfire did show up. The Miracle. And let's keep it going. Alright, land drop. I can hardcast Force of Negation now. So I have 2 pass against creatures and Force of Negation against non-creatures. Alright, I chose poorly. They had a second Urza's Tower in hand. So here's this card. I'm going to let it resolve because they can't take both paths, and I want to hide the information. They probably just take Force here. And Karn. Alright, Path to Exile. Let's draw a Counterspell off this Thought-Knot Seer. Just straight up actual Counterspell. Oh, money. That wasn't Counterspell, but it was Force of Negation. Bang. I'm still so far behind. It's outrageous. But land Jace goes a long way here. That wasn't it. And I'm a mana short of snapping the Wildfire. Alright, I think we're done. Rough times. Karn liberated. He has no pants at all. That's how you know he's liberated. So, float white, and then Snapcaster Mage. Target Path to Exile. Alright, I can path my own Snapcaster and try to like, get Jace happening here. But none of that doesn't even seem very good. Chalice. Alright, so I'm going to path my Snapcaster. I think I need red more than I need white. I need all of it. I actually need white, probably. Because my Teferis are white. Land. Shark Typhoon. This could theoretically cycle into land Teferi land. Is that... Nope, that's too many cards. Well, there's Teferi. So they're going to plus Karn, probably. I don't think they would throw him away to hit a land here. Unless they have another one, in which case I'm in trouble. Alright, they have this Karn. Alright, yeah, I'm dead. The Multiply was rough. Maybe I'm supposed to go to 4. Yeah, like the no-land or all-lander. I think we have a lot of reasonable spreads of hands that can play around here. But also just the random draw wild of I destroyed Urza's Tower and they had Urza's Tower in their hand, when if I went after mine, they might not have had Tron at all. So that's just playing against Tron. Alright, yeah, spewing their Karn makes perfect sense here because they can destroy the rest of my lands with other Karn starting next turn. And I just have no lands to play the game with. Alright, yep, can't win this game. GG's. That's a tough matchup, for sure. Thus concludes my Jeskai Control League. So, I went into this league saying that, like, Urza Saga and Dragon Rage Channeler and all these things are really hard to beat. And we did lose round 1 to Dragon Rage Channeler. And we lost the last round to a deck with Urza Saga in it, but I don't think we can call it a Modern Horizons 2 deck. That was just like a thing they were doing, and they didn't even do it particularly well. It was just a card in their deck. But what they did do well was assemble Tron. And Tron has historically been a problem for decks like Jeskai Control. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. Lost to Tron, got buried by aggro, and we beat a bunch of different kind of decks in the middle. The Madcap Experiment combo out of the sideboard was a huge deal. That saved my bacon against Hardened Scales. We were not winning that match without it, like 0% at all. We barely won that match with it. And then on top of that, the burn matchup was a joke because of this. That's just a really low cost thing to put into your deck for high impact in certain matchups. So big fan of that. As far as the main deck, the Valakut Awakening never came up. And I played it as a land once and I boarded it out a lot and never actually cast it as a spell. So maybe it's good. It seems like a reasonable fun of one of, as far as like being the 24th land, but also sometimes being good, because we did lose games where we drew the wrong half of the deck. So this does fix the wrong half of the deck problem, but you need to be on 3 mana before it does that. So mediocre. That could be a flex slot. How you spread out your removal is probably also a flex slot, and you adjust that for your metagame. Like 3 Helix, 3 Bolt, 2 Path could reasonably be a different spread of those things. Like 4 Path if you have a lot of Amulet, 4 Helix if you have a lot of Burn. So your mileage may vary there. The Shark Typhoon actually I think was the worst card, which kills me to say. Like breaks my little heart. I don't know that you need 3 of them. Games either were so fast that this card didn't matter, or so slow that you could win with anything, and there wasn't much in between. So this is also a flex slot, and maybe filling in the curve with earlier answers to make sure you don't get cheesed out by Delver and stuff might be the solution to that. Or finding room for that Fracturing Gust, by the way, that would have blown out a number of my opponents today. But again, Fracturing Gust, I guess it depends. Like, it's kind of awkward to jam it when Platinum Empyreans in play, but if you lose your 8/8 and they lose the game, that's a very different calculation, obviously. So against something like Affinity or Hardened Scales or Enchantress, that's definitely a card that you might want access to. So think about that. Well, thank you, King Centaur, for sending me down memory lane with this deck. Counterspell was awesome. Really felt the power level upgrade to have actual Counterspell in Modern. Snap Counterspell feels good. But I still think this deck is like half a step behind where I'd want it to be to really compete with it. Like I did feel at the start of every round, it was like, well, a lot of stress. Like, okay, what do I do here? What are they going to do? Like, can I keep this hand with 2 Path to Exiles, or do I need to mulligan to 2 Cleansing Wildfires? You just don't know. And it's really hard in game 1 situations to have the right hand, unless your hand is just like the perfect, like 3 lands, 1 removal spell, 1 counter spell Teferi Dream. So that is tough. I feel like you're giving up a lot in this format when you're just like crap shooting game 1 like that, when you could just be doing something powerful and proactive like Dragon Rage Channeler, Asmoran, or Amulet. So I'm still dubious of blue control decks in Modern, but this one did feel pretty reasonable for what it is. And thank you, King Centaur, for asking me to play it. Everyone else, sound off in the comments any thoughts you have about the deck, the list, how I played it, whatever. And be sure to like and subscribe to the channel while you're here, and I will see you next time.